Welcome everybody, I'm Jeff Barton and I'm your host for the Las Vegas Real Estate Show. Thanks for tuning in. We're on each and every week and we try to bring to you information, opinions, both nationally and locally about what's happening in the real estate market. In Las Vegas, as you know, there's a lot going on. There always is a lot going on, and searching out and trying to get that particular deal or trying to find out what the best opportunity is, that's why we're here. And we bring people to the show who try to help you either with their opinion or with their expertise. We bring loan officers, entrepreneurs, people in the business, people certainly who know commercial, who know residential. Real estate in Vegas is not complex, but it certainly has you got to know what you're doing in order to make sure that you get the best deal possible. Obviously, this is a local and a broadcast show, so we're trying to appeal to the people that live right here in Las Vegas to go out there and search out a great deal or to get more information to try to push the market, try to make people give you the best deal possible out there in the marketplace. So I wanted to hit on a couple things. 2019 January, so a lot of people put together lists of things that they're going to do, or I'm going to be this, and this. And one of the ways that I think that that's important is how you communicate, how I communicate, how the market works in terms of presenting you opportunities. Facebook or Twitter or Craigslist or any number of the social media outlets. How do you get your information out there that you're looking for something? Or are you more voyeuristic, i.e. you kind of sit back and you surf around, you're looking for something, you're trying to investigate what it is. So I want to talk a little bit about LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a professional website where people in the business, now I have a number of followers on my own LinkedIn page, and how I try to reach them has always been something that I've found very difficult to do. Now LinkedIn has many professionals out there in the mortgage industry, in the real estate industry, in title and escrow, anybody who is really in my end of the business, which is really retail to the consumer, either in loans or in what am I trying to say? In real estate sales. So if I am that guy, how do I use LinkedIn? So you're sitting there and you're wondering, okay, you're that guy, how are you going to reach your people? So for you to understand how you can take advantage of the business professional through LinkedIn is what I want to talk about. How I do it. Okay, I hired a company. I've hired many companies, and they're not expensive. I hired a company to fill out my profile properly. The profile on LinkedIn is one of the most watched and looked at things on LinkedIn. So if you have a LinkedIn account and you're out there right now and you're wondering, okay, what do I have to do that's different than most? Go to my LinkedIn page. It's Jeff Barton. And if you look at my LinkedIn page and how it's filled out, that's the format by which the professional that I hired cost me $450 to fill out my profile. And she's been on the show before, Debbie Harris. She's great. And as a result of filling out the profile properly, I probably get, I don't know, anywhere from 50 to 100 different views per week on my profile. Now, what does this mean and how does it help you? Well, first of all, in LinkedIn, like most social medias, enhancing or improving your particular profile or the number of people that look at you and how you are perceived, how you present yourself is an important component in social media. But how do you get from that? You're a consumer, you have a LinkedIn page, and you're looking at this show going, okay, how can this improve people getting me real estate deals? I mean, that's what you're looking at, right? I mean, as Jeff Barton, as a guy who is trying to get my particular social media to a certain level whereby people are coming to me with things, that's what everybody wants. That's the whole idea behind social media. How do you make the leap from, okay, I fill out my profile property, I have 5,000 followers, but not one of them has ever come to me with a deal. So how do you bridge the gap from there to whereby people are coming to you with deals? Well, there is no secret to it. You must approach people individually, yet at the same time, massively. So if you're sending out 100 messages per day, what are those messages? And by the way, can you send out 100 messages per day? I can't do it. I had to hire somebody to do it. That's how I'm doing it. How are you going to do it? You're looking for real estate deals. You're looking for great loans. You're looking for people to work with to fix the house that you've just bought in order to flip. How do you get involved with people in the industry through LinkedIn? That's what I wanted to talk about today. And I'm Jeff Barton. I'm your host for the Las Vegas Real Estate Show. We'll come back with those answers in just one moment. Thanks for tuning in.
Are you experiencing hair loss? We have the solution with no drugs, no surgery, and no side effects. Experience 100% pain-free results with Super Grow Laser Cap System, featuring 272 professional-grade lasers that make your hair thicker and fuller naturally. Use it 15 minutes a day, 3 times a week, and notice your hair growth in as little as 3 months. Visit online at irevivelaser.com to order your Super Grow Laser Cap today and experience unbelievable results. irevivelaser.com.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Jeff Barton, and I'm your host for the Las Vegas Real Estate Show. Thanks for tuning in. We're on each and every week. We bring to you some information. Hopefully it's useful. We think it is. Certainly we're entertaining. I know that I am, and I'm sure Reed is as well. Anyway, some of these terrific people that come on the show have been on the show before, and we've decided to bring Reed back in order to educate us once again about what his company does and how he's helping both investment here and in other states. Of course, I'm talking about Reed Blake with Business Capital Experts. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you very much. Thanks for coming in.
Appreciate being back, man.
No, thanks very much. I know it's been a long time. You were saying it's been a couple, 3 months anyway.
It's been a few months, yeah.
Okay, how's business? How's it going?
Going very well. Start of the year has been outstanding. We closed out the year strong. Demand for people wanting unsecured capital is high.
Now, the businesses that you give the money to, explain a little bit about how you do that, how you qualify somebody in order to take advantage of your program.
Great. Yeah, in terms of the qualifications, the sort of the underlying premise, if you would, is what does a business owner look like to an unsecured funding source?
Okay.
And so what we do is we do an analysis that's based upon 4 boxes we need to check, so to speak. And if they meet that criteria, they're going to get unsecured cash-based business lines of credit. They're going to get unsecured cash loans. They're going to get what we call checkbook lines also in their business name. These monies are tied to the EIN. So anyway, there are 4 primary qualifications for the UBLs. One is you got to have a business. It's unsecured business lines, not unsecured personal lines.
Right.
Secondly, it's credit. They're going to look at the business owner's credit. Now, they're not going to look at the score. As you know, when I teach at workshops and seminars and things like that,
sure,
there's no score. It's blemish driven. And so this sounds crazy because most small business owners are unfamiliar with this. But there are such things, it's blemish driven. Mm-hmm. And so there are such things as good blemishes and bad blemishes. And those blemishes change, depending upon who it is. They're not just always the same for every single person. Uh-huh. So blemishes. The third criteria is what we call capacity. Mm-hmm. You and I, in layman's terms, we would call it limits. So they're going to look at what the limits the person already has in their personal revolving debt. In other words, in the absence of business credit scores with TransUnion or Experian, primarily Experian, then they look at the individual, right? So someone like, just role playing, if you had 3 $10,000 limit cards,
right,
30 grand, and I had one $10,000 card, I'm 10,000. You'll literally obtain tens of thousands of dollars more than I will in round 1 of funding just because of that difference. It's not linear. It's not like you get 20,000 more.
Right.
It's like I'll get 25 or 30, you'll get 60, 70, $80,000. I
see.
It's that significant. And then the fourth criteria is utilization, or what you and I would say, how much have I charged on that?
Right.
So if I have a $10,000 line of credit and I've charged 7 on it, so a credit card, I've got 70% utilization.
Right.
And so the lower that utilization is at the time of underwriting, the more money the client will obtain. And in fact, the sweet spot's really at about 35% or less.
That's what they say, even on residential mortgages when we look at credit cards. It's exactly that.
There you go.
If you have 30% utilization, your credit score is higher, therefore you can borrow more money and more cheaply.
Exactly.
Right.
Yep.
Okay.
So those are the 4 criteria. It's that simple. Everything else doesn't matter, at least in round 1. We don't need tax returns. We don't need 2 years of seasoning on the business. I mean, we can form one immediately for somebody, and 10 days later they can be funding.
I see. And how much you give them depends on what?
How much they obtain is based upon those 4 criteria.
Okay, and there's an underwriting guideline or some
Right.
kind of program algorithm?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Scott, our head of underwriting, amazing. I mean, he's personally responsible for over $500 million in underwriting. Mm-hmm. He gets it. I mean, he has a clue, so to speak.
Okay.
Yeah.
Types of businesses that you prefer?
It's really not so much the business. Again, our target market tends to be what they call the SOHO, small office, home office, small shop kind of business owner is more inclined to be with us because they're being ignored by the big boys. They're not being
because they're not big enough. They don't make enough money.
Yeah. The perception's just not there. Mm-hmm. So anyway, I mean, but now institutions are starting to focus on it a little bit more. You and I are baseball fans. Think of like baseball. They've been focusing on the guys that are hitting doubles and triples and home runs.
Right.
Now they finally figured out, getting guys on base, a whole lot of singles makes sense.
There's still money in it. It's just
Yeah.
not the big dollars that you would see in a higher ticket item.
Exactly.
But there is steady profit. And I think that's very key, especially nowadays where it's difficult to fulfill your loan requirements as a lender or as a bank.
Oh yeah, and again, for small business owners, I mean, these are powerful tools for capital. Right now, the marketplace is so competitive for that business that they're getting interest-free lines of credit, ranging from 9 months to 18 months. Last year, it was 12 to 24 months. So there's been a little bit of contraction in the time frame that they're getting institutional money interest-free, but it's still still some 24-monthers out there, but it's 9 to 18 months interest-free. I mean, that's pure leveraged OPM. You draw down $5,000, pay it back, all went to principal.
How can a business justify that, like a lending business like yourself? Or
It's all about client acquisition. It's all about client acquisition.
And what do they want to have all of their, they want to have their credit cards, their bank accounts, other things?
Yeah, obviously they want everything.
Right,
Institutions
exactly.
want everything.
Okay.
Yeah, within their suite of deliverables, what they do in their small business accounts. Yeah.
Okay. So we're talking about what's your typical loan amount that you're lending currently?
Oh, that's it ranges. Let me give you ranges.
Okay.
Month in, month out, about 80% of the clients end up with between $50,000 and $100,000 in round one. Round one takes 20, 30 days from beginning to completion.
Okay.
About 15% get less, 25, 35, 45,000. But again, that's 35,000 the business owner didn't have yesterday tied to their EIN, not their personal social security number. And about 5%, in round one end up with 100,000 or more on the UBLs. And then over the 24 months that we track a client, they're going to end up somewhere between $500,000 and $2 million of this stuff.
What's the risk to you guys? And I only ask that because I don't know what the economy is going to do in the next 18 months, but I think there's a recession in there somewhere.
Well, it will always
Right?
happen, yeah. What will happen, it's really interesting because most of the small business owners that meet the criteria, they're serious, they're focused, they protect these things. Because remember, this is forever money. I mean, they get to draw down, pay, use it over and over and over and over again, almost like a capital firm. I mean, you just turn your money. And it's amazing because they protect it like you can't believe. They take great care of it. I'm so surprised at how. In fact, I can't even think of one that when we've gotten to round two that's not eligible and ready to go for round two. I mean, they've handled those lines of credit wisely. Now we do a whole bunch of classes. When I say a whole bunch, half a dozen, 7 little 20-minute classes on how to maximize the different scores, the internal scores, institutions, their business credit scores, and things like that. So we help them maximize what they look like. And in terms of when to make your payments, how frequently to make the payments, all kinds of things we teach, how to liquidate, all this kind of stuff. But what will happen is as we get closer to a recession, is you'll see a contraction of the underwriting guidelines.
I see.
And so
making it harder.
Yeah. There's obviously a correlation between a high score and blemishes, but not always. Like we had that, I think we've talked about it. We had that one client in Phoenix, she had a contract with the NFL for the Super Bowl a few seasons ago. Her scores were in the 640s, but she didn't have any of the bad blemishes. So she ended up with tens of thousands of dollars and completed her contract with the NFL. We've had business owners come in. My favorite one is they came in 777. That's a good score.
That's a good score.
And that's a cool number.
Yeah, that's
right?
exactly
that's
right.
That's the jackpot in Vegas. It's 3 Mickey Mantles. Anyway, they had
Mickey
two.
Mantle. Half the audience
Yankee
is called
guy.
Mickey Mantle. Who's Mickey Mantle? Oh, that's very funny.
But anyway, so they had 2 blemishes that were the bad blemishes. We had to pivot them into credit optimization. That got taken care of, and then bam, 30 days later, they got their $50,000, $60,000, $70,000.
Okay, and how quick to money? Like you're saying, a week, 2 weeks?
20 to 30 days.
Okay, so that's
Between the time we begin the process and they have the money. In fact, just in the interest of being straightforward, about a third of the folks have all their money in between 5 and 10 days. Half 10 to 15 days, and the remaining number of people in 15 to 20 days. So from beginning to end, 20 to 30 days, they'll have all of their approvals and the funds wired or access to the unsecured business lines. Either pieces of paper checks, pieces of plastic.
Right.
We're chip-enabled smartphones, smart watches, things like that, so they can access the funds that they've been approved, for which they've been approved.
Reed, thank you very much for coming on the show. Really appreciate it. Glad to have you back in the rotation. We'll see you next time.
Thank you, Jeff.
And I'm Jeff Barton. I'm your host for the Las Vegas Real Estate Show.
Successful Strategies International offers state-of-the-art PMP certification and an entire curriculum of project management, risk management, portfolio and program management by using unique learning techniques such as online learning, simulations, and facilitator lead programs. Our clientele consists of some of the biggest Fortune 500 companies in existence. SSI has trainers all across North America, Europe, and Asia to help meet your project management needs. Learn more at ssi-learn.com. That's ssi-learn.com.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Jeff Barton. I'm your host for the Las Vegas Real Estate Show. Thanks for tuning in. We're on each and every week. I do appreciate it. I know that it's Sunday night and you're looking around and you're trying to figure out what to do. Football season's over. It's mid-January and we're not quite sure if the government's going to reopen again. And a lot of people are nervous, but this particular show is going to give you some answers. And part of the answers of what we're going to do is with my next guest, Charles Giscombe from Malibu Funding. Charles, how are you?
I'm doing great, Jeff. Thanks for having me.
Okay, thank you too. Now, a lot of what we do in the business is to talk about how to invest, how to make money. And what are we making the money for? Well, we're making the money for our kids, to try to pass something along, to make your life a little bit better, try to create more of a family situation. And we're just talking off air about social media, the things that are really doing just the opposite, driving people away from each other. How do we deal with that problem?
Jeff, I look at it now, and technology has come so far, but I'm really kind of fortunate that we were growing up in a day and age where we really didn't have that, where we actually had to go outside and play, Jeff. We actually had to go get on the swing. We had to get some bumps and bruises on our knees. We had to play on the seesaw. We had to go play tackle football in the street. We had to go have snowball fights. Those were all things that we just thought that they were things that little kids do. But at the end of the day, what it really did is it taught us how to interact with people. It taught us, it taught us what the society was, because, our relationships with other kids and stuff as we've grown up, the little microcosm of what the society is. Great life lessons for us. I really feel like right now, social media, it's called social media, is actually creating an antisocial situation for our children. It's really difficult because it's creating a group of kids or individuals that are some of the most loneliest individuals, because it isolates you, really. Honestly, back when we were growing up, if a guy wanted to bully you, he had to be at the schoolyard in front of you. Right. Right now, a guy can bully you from wherever he is. A guy can bully you from another country. Right? On social media. And at the end of the day, that is the issue that we have right now, because the kids aren't understanding how to interact with other individuals, and it causes issues. And then, taking that up from work, don't get me wrong, technology is amazing. It's wonderful. We use it every day. We use it for our jobs, for our mortgages.
Can't do it without it.
Real estate, we do it. But at the same time, those individuals, if you sat them in a boardroom and you had to sit them down and talk to somebody and sell them something, a tech guy might not be able to do what you and I do. We just grassroots, door to door, sit down, take an application on a napkin, talk to a guy about everything else, right? So I just think that there's some pros and cons on both sides. But in regards to raising a kid in a different situation, I feel like it's causing an issue for us in our country and all around the country. Like I said, technology is great, but we're just getting a group of individuals that really don't know how to interact with one another.
I agree. So I'm renting a car, and I go to the agent, and the agent said, "Hey, look, here's our direct number. Call me directly, or you can email me," because there's always this. How do you communicate with people nowadays? Right. You know what? Right. When I grew up, the telephone was the technology. So you wanted to talk to somebody, it's the same as talking in front. You're on the phone. You're talking to somebody. That's right. You have to deal with whatever happens on the phone with the person you're talking with. That's right. Her saying to me, "Hey," or you'd email me, meaning that I can blast out on an email things that I would never say in person. And what happens is what you're saying in the social media sphere is you get, whether it's cyberbullying or whether it's just you take on a persona of somebody that is only a little bit of you. Like, you can get cranky and mad, but that's not whole of you. But in a social media sense, if you use that portion of you and you use that to communicate, that's who you are.
That's who you are.
And so what happens is you get a lot of people who are much more bold, much more aggressive, much more unforgiving. And so what that does, in a sense, is it doesn't allow a person to learn that you can't say that to somebody in person.
That's right.
You have to deal with the give and take. In real estate, we deal in real estate every day. Whether it's you're dealing with your loan officer, you're dealing with your real estate agent. The two main components of getting any real estate deal done in Las Vegas are those two individuals.
That's right.
You can't bully, you can't be this aggressive, this hyper, this... No, you've got to work with people because they in turn have to go work with other people. It's not about a technology-driven solution. It's about who you know and how you have a relationship with that person. The underwriter, for instance, with the lender. I don't have a relationship with them. They're not going to do me a favor. They're not going to say, okay, the guidelines are strict here, but I might be able to give on a certain point.
I agree with you completely, Jeff, because we need that every day.
Every day.
Every day we always run into situations where we need that. And you have to know how to speak to somebody because guess what? Individuals have bad days. Other people have bad days. Things happen. And so if you have a relationship, you can formulate the relationship. You know how to talk to an individual. There's some things that you can do, make a person feel good, and it still might be able to work. You never know what's on the other side of that. These kids growing up, don't get me wrong, technology is just natural. I always call it the Spacely Sprockets effect, right?
Exactly.
The Spacely Sprockets effect is real. All the things we saw on TV, they're happening now, right? They're happening. You got conveyor belts, computers, robots, different things running different situations, taking jobs away from individuals that were hardworking Americans. And it's the natural progression because that's what's going to happen. But you also have to look to the cons of the situation. And unfortunately, the kids in our society are having to deal with those cons. And they don't even recognize it as of right now. They're just more depression, more different things that are happening around here, Jeff, that's really unfortunate. So I look back on my time frame and I say, I loved it when if you called my phone and it was busy, you had to wait.
You
I
had
was
to call
talking
back.
to somebody. I was dealing with somebody else.
Exactly right.
You know what? At the end of the day, before call waiting came into play, Jeff, just busy phone, right? Email was actual mail. You had to write a letter. You send some stamps and shoot it out there. If you are an individual who can appreciate interaction with other individuals and you just use the technology to get a job done, to get a situation taken care of faster, but you still are interacting with individuals, that's what I believe technology is for. It's not to take the place of human interaction. It's to enhance our ability to reach the masses, but you still need interpersonal skills.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the solution is to try to limit it in my own home.
Yes.
That's what we did when we raised our kids. Now, granted, my youngest is 20 years old.
Gotcha.
She's in college. My other two boys, they're grown and they're working. One's in Seattle, one's in Portland. But growing up, there was technology, and that was an issue.
Right.
Gaming, cell phones wasn't as big at the time.
Right.
But as it grew in I guess popularity.
Right.
That's when my daughter came along.
Gotcha.
But we had to limit the technology. Now I don't know if that's a solution for the kids who are currently using their cell phones as a way to disassociate from the world, because you can get lost in that world, right?
Absolutely.
And,
it's a whole
and a lot
world.
of parents who are latchkey kids, who have latchkey kids, or single parents, that phone has taken the place of the television.
These kids are learning everything off of Google and on their phone in different situations. You can go on YouTube, you can go to these different channels and see and learn different things. I mean, it's pretty much babysitting our children. If you're a single parent, I understand you have to do what you have to do, but I feel like the end result is our kids are becoming, they're becoming awkward in communicating with other individuals.
What's your
face-to-face.
solution? How are you dealing with it? Because we are all dealing with it. Everybody in the audience who's got kids is dealing with it.
I have my kids in sports because it's important for them to be able to interact as a team, understand what it is to go through different trials and tribulations and problem solve with individuals that are with you. You have to talk in order to solve those problems, right? So kids learn in different situations and how to handle themselves. I try to involve them in as much as I possibly can. And even still, as far and as innovative that technology is, it's still a difficult situation for us because they're just bought in. They're a generation that the smartphones were out when they were born. Right. So that's all they know. They don't know what we talk about back in the day when there was nothing there.
Well, there's such a gap when we have that conversation, right? Here we go. And click you right off, right away, right?
They don't even know what that is.
Don't even know what it is, don't care.
Correct.
Right, this is my world. My son says, hey, okay, I hear what you're saying, but No, it has
Doesn't
nothing
matter
to do with me.
That's right. Doesn't have anything to do with me. My kid, we're driving by. The kid goes, "What is that?" It's a payphone. Oh yeah, payphones. What is a payphone?
Yeah, exactly.
I thought that was just Superman's closet.
You know, it's funny you say that because everybody's got a phone.
Yes.
There must be 2 trillion phones in the world floating around, right?
Absolutely.
Imagine that.
Absolutely.
Having the ability and the money to be able to afford a device that you can communicate and get information from anybody in the world. And now you're hearing a story from your old man about the old days when you used to have to put coins in the phone.
It's a long way from putting coins into a payphone to buying a $1,000
$1,000
iPhone
That's
10X,
correct.
right?
Right.
That's where we are right now. These kids used to it. They expect it.
Right.
If they don't have that phone, they're not cool. A bully situation starts from that. Even technology, if your computer doesn't look cool enough or you don't have the brand new Fortnite, PS4, Xbox, if you're not into that situation, don't have a Apple iPhone watch or whatever, you're picked on, you're bullied because now your technology is not even up to speed. So you got to keep up with the Joneses from fashion, from being cool to the technology. It's a lot of stuff that these kids are dealing with.
Right. No,
It's a
I
long
agree.
way away from a Catholic school with the same tie on and a vest, Jeff,
Right.
and we all looked the same and we all worked out the same. And you know what? You had to talk stuff out. And if, like I said, if a bully was a bully, you saw him at lunchtime or at recess. Not on the phone, not on Facebook, not on social media, Instagram, none of that, Snapchat. It wasn't any of that for us, man. And I think it's taking away the ability for our kids to communicate with other people. And in the long run, it's going to be a problem for us.
Well, when we deal with all generations, right?
Yes.
I'm an older guy. You're in your mid 40s.
I'm an older guy.
You're a young man. Are you kidding me? So what I'm saying is, we have an ability to talk to a generation or two younger
Yes,
than us. right?
absolutely.
The real estate agents coming in now, 20-somethings, who join a firm, are having a more difficult time
Right.
in relating to their own generation.
Correct.
Because there is no skill set for them to be able to say, hey, let me show you a house. Well, what do you mean? I've got house on my phone. I don't need you. What do I need you for?
That's right.
Okay, fine. So a person like that goes to Rocket Mortgage or any number of
Right.
online apps,
Right.
thinking that they can automatically get a loan by just filling out an app, which is impossible to do. Because
Completely impossible, Jeff.
impossible to do.
Yes.
Right? Dealing with someone who has the impatience, yet the expectation, because of the device, to
Right.
be able to solve problems on their own is a difficult solution. One that I don't know if we have difficulty handling it, but a 20-something-year-old real estate agent having difficulty dealing with that. Like, what is financing and how does it work? And how are you supposed to get somebody financed if you just can't fill out the app online yourself? This is one of the issues when we're dealing in an economy that we have today, where the loss of jobs is coming.
It's coming.
If you're not in a situation where you are in a high-tech situation, a high-tech job, your service-related job is going bye-bye.
It's going away, and we talked about keeping these jobs here, but I don't know how you can keep the jobs here when technology has already taken those jobs away from
Right.
people. They don't even know it. It's coming, Jeff.
That's exactly right. Anyway, I appreciate you sharing this with me because
Thank
it's
you.
near and dear to my heart. I know it isn't directly related to mortgages and real estate, but in a sense it is.
It is, Jeff.
Okay,
Important.
thanks very much. Charles
Thanks for having me.
Eastbrook.
Appreciate
Thank you
you.
very much.
Thanks.
And I'm Jeff Barton. I'm your host for the Las Vegas Real Estate Show, and we'll see you next time.